Will the graph of y greater than -1/2 x plus 4 have a solid or dashed boundary line, and will the graph be shaded above or below the boundary line? So first thing I notice with this inequality, it's in a very similar form to the slope-intercept form. Now we use the slope-intercept form when we're talking about equations, not inequalities, but this form can help us when we are graphing the inequality as well. Notice that if you have it in y on the left and everything else on the right, it looks just like this. So we're going to go ahead and pull information from it just as if we would if this was an equation. We know our slope, m, is equal to -1/2. Now when you are writing -1/2, I put the negatives in the numerator, but you can also put in the denominator. You will get the same answer when you are graphing it. Remember, the numerator of slope determines if it goes up or down. If it is positive, it goes up. If it is negative, it goes down. In our denominator, we have a +2. If this is positive, it goes right. If it is negative, it will go left. Since our numerator is negative, it goes down. Denominator is positive, it will go right. We can also get our y-intercept or our b from this. It is equal to 4. So I can go ahead and graph these two here on my number line. First of all, I can graph my y-intercept of 4. And we know when we do the y-intercept of 4, now we will look at our slope. So we would go down 1 to the right 2. So we would have a point right here. Now that I have my 2 points, I want to go ahead and draw my lines, but I have no idea what this means by solid or dashed boundary line. And what does it mean to shade above or shade below? Teaching assistant Chloe is here with her latest cheat sheet notes. When you have a greater than or a less than sign, you will draw a dashed line. When you have a greater than or equal to sign, less than or equal to sign, or an equal sign, you will draw a solid line. If y is greater or y is greater than or equal to, you will shade above. When y is less than or y is less than or equal to, you will shade below. When x is greater than or x is greater than or equal to, you will shade right. When x is less than or x is less than or equal to, you will shade left. If 0, 0 is true, you will shade the side that has the origin. If 0, 0 is false, shade the side without the origin. Now that we have Chloe's tips and tricks over here on the side, we can figure out if we are going to be doing a solid or dashed boundary line and whether we shade above or below. So notice on this one we have in the form y greater than. Since y is greater than, we can see that we will draw a dashed line. So I can go over here to my graph and I can go ahead and draw the dashed line through it. The next part it asks us is, will we be shading it above or below? When it is talking about shading above, that means you are looking above the line. This part up here is above the line, all of this section here. If we are talking below that boundary line, we are talking below it down here. One way some students like to remember this is shading above means you go up, shading below means you go down on the y-axis. So shading above is up on the y-axis, shading below is down on the y-axis. So on this problem right here, we do have it in y greater than form, meaning we are going to shade above. So that means this top part here is what we will shade. So we have figured out that we are going to do a dashed line and we are going to shade it above. Another thing that Chloe introduced us to was using the origin to fill in to your equation to see which side to shade. Notice my origin right here is 0, 0. 0, 0 is always the easiest number to pick. You can pick other coordinates, but 0, 0 is pretty easy because when you use 0 in equations, a lot of things end up canceling out. So if I have the coordinate 0, 0, I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my original inequality. So that would be 0 greater than -1/2, 0 plus 4. -1/2 times 0 just ends up being 0, and 0 plus 4 ends up being 4. Now you ask yourself, is 0 greater than 4? Is this true or is it false? And in this case, 0 can never be greater than 4. So this example right here is false. So since it is false, you will shade the side without the origin. Notice my origin is right here. That's how I knew to shade this side. So you can use either picking a point and seeing if it's true or false, or you can use these formulas here when you have it in y greater than or less than or equal to or whatever inequality you have.